So, hello everyone, and welcome to our newest podcast episode. Today's podcast is called Our Lives, Our Safety, and we will talk about the well-being and the safety of the young people in our two countries, North Macedonia and Greece. And for that, I will speak with my two guests who are here with me today. Thank you for being here today. So, from my left side, we have Dimitris Papadopoulos, and he is a young person from Thessaloniki, and is also a part of the Infinity Greece organization. And I also have Blendi Hodai, who is also a young person from Tetovo, North Macedonia, and he is coming from the Forum for Educational Change. So my first question here today will be, do you feel safe in your country? So maybe we can start with Dimitris and then proceed with Blendi.
Okay, this is a good question for first question, to be honest. I feel safe in terms of living, but not in the transportation right now. Because in Greece, I don't know if you know, in the previous year 2023 in February, we had an accident with a train collision. It was really bad. It happened after the carnival season, and you understand a lot of young people were traveling through the train, and two trains collide each other, and more than 57 young people lost their lives. Most of them were like me, from 18 years old to 25 years old. A lot of young people died. And it was really common before to travel with a train because, as you know, as a European citizen, it's common in Europe.
It is sustainable as well.
Yes, it's sustainable. Mm-hmm. And even the European Union promote a lot. And it's really bad that in a Balkan country as Greece, that happened, this incident. It's really important also because afterwards the young people, they don't trust at all to move in a different city with a train. It's really bad.
Thank you, Dimitris. And what about you, Blendi? Do you feel safe in your country, in your community?
To add on what Dimitri actually said, similar things happened to our country in different ways, right? You had in January an accident that killed a woman while she was passing on the green lights in the main street in Skopje. Then you had, unfortunately, the tragedy in Kočani, where right now the death toll is 62, and they were between 14 and 42 years old, the people that died in this tragedy. So a lot of things that have happened are showing that the system is dysfunctional, it's not working. And in that case, young people, me, including me, I personally don't feel safe because I might, by the time I came from my apartment here, it could happen literally 100 things. You can die because of someone who is unresponsible. It's driving 100 kilometers per hour in a street where it should be driven around 50. And then, of course, the other cases where you go, it happened right last month where someone went to a hospital to get some therapy. And they gave something that he was allergic to, and he died because of the allergic shock. So basically, even though when you need to go to the places where you need to cure yourself to get the therapy and so on in hospitals, you're in danger of not coming alive out of these places. And when you see the broader picture of how many things have emerged and what have happened in the past, you can make the conclusion, of course, not to make a drama out of it, but honestly the situation is that we as young people, Dimitris said in Greece, but also in North Macedonia, are nowhere safe. I mean, even if you go in the universities, they are super old. There can be a case, unfortunately, I hope that something like that won't happen, but it can be a case of the building to collide. And if you go, as I said, back to your apartment, when you move, at any circumstances, at any time, you are in danger for something to happen to you. So to conclude, I personally don't also feel safe whenever I go within this country.
But right now, let's talk about data, because it is always nice to have data as something that will support our perceptions. Because you both work with young people and you are young people as well. What can you tell me? What does the data show about the quality of life in your country? What information can we get from the data that we have in our countries?
Can I say?
Yes, of course.
In Infinity Greece, every year in Thessaloniki, we are holding a survey. We ask the young people what they want. So we ask questions because Thessaloniki is a university city with a lot of students, and we realize that every year the quality of life, because of the answers of this survey, they are getting really worse per year, and the main problem is the socialization of the young people. They don't feel really comfortable to speak with each other, not in the digital world, but in person, and it's really bad. It's one of two young people. They have this type of problem during the university years and etc. Another problem, of course, it's the quality of life because of the unemployment and the low salaries. Not so much for the unemployment, because there are plenty of jobs, but they don't. You didn't get paid a lot, because when you are working on this type of jobs, like be a waiter or something like this,
and they don't have the motivation to keep doing the work.
Exactly, because it's really hard for them to work on this type of jobs and also go to university. To have these double roles, it's really difficult, and I think the same also in North Macedonia is happening. Furthermore, one extra problem of the quality of life, it's the young people, they cannot find really affordable rentals in order to live alone. It's really difficult to find a good apartment to live alone in Thessaloniki. You need to find one and live with your friend or with your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. But if you want to explore what is life, because it's really important, I think, for everyone to live alone. If you cannot live alone, you don't love yourself, and you cannot explore yourself at the first years of the adulthood. It's really important, I think. And in the Balkan countries, we have this type of staying with our parents until 30 years old, and this time
yes.
it's common, but it's bad. There are plenty of opportunities in other countries that young people, they move on and they are trying to live alone. I think that's the problem.
What do you think, for example, let's take the socialization problem. What do you think caused this, and how do you feel that it can be changed or improved?
I think it's difficult to get improved now, even with artificial intelligence and all these digital tools. I think it's going to be worse and worse through the years. I think it's important to be volunteers and active participants in organizations, to meet other people, interesting people with similar interests.
To network with people.
Yes, of course, the networking. Because not only as friends, in this type of organization, we meet the professionals of the future. And it's really important to understand that this is your network. This is the people that you are going to work, to collaborate in projects. Maybe you will find a good job opportunity through them. And it's really important to focus on find good opportunities through volunteering.
Thank you, Dimitris. And Blendi, what are your thoughts? What does the data show about the quality of life in our country, in North Macedonia?
I always think that best way to see are the young people in general, citizens, satisfied with the quality of life. You should always see what is the percentage of the young people that wants to leave the country. That will tell you are they satisfied with the quality of life here. And as you know, as we all know, Nina, like more than 40% of the young people, the latest research from different institutions have shown that they would leave if some opportunity would come abroad. They don't see their future within North Macedonia. And of course there are many reasons because of why they don't see the future in North Macedonia, but mainly what is important to mention is that unfortunately the standard of living in North Macedonia in general is very high, like it's here, and the quality of life is here. So it's a huge gap, a discrepancy of how much you can make in order to gain as in wages and how much you can work compared to how expensive it has gotten in the past years. It's same with the accommodation, like here in Skopje you cannot find a tiny apartment 40 meters squares less than 350 euros, which is a huge amount of money for a student that is studying in North Macedonia, because in the end of the day the students they have their main occupation is to go to the faculty to follow
students,
to be students
and not workers.
And unfortunately the law on higher education in North Macedonia don't allow the student to work, in the sense of if you are starting to work you will need to enroll as from a regular student towards extraordinary students, where you need only to go for the exams in faculty. And our data, for example, what we did with the Forum for Educational Change, the organization that I lead, is that we wanted to create a student basket, how much money they need to have in order to finish their studies. And we took some faculties. One faculty was Faculty of Economics in the University Kirill and Methodist. And we saw that for 4 years, the student must have a minimum of 11,000 euro in order to graduate.
And that is the public university in our country, for those who don't
exactly.
Who don't know.
So, I mean, in this 11,000 euro, we included, of course, the meals that they need to eat during the day. Of course, we included the rent fee, or maybe if you are going to the student dormitory as well, you need also to pay a fee to participate on that. And also other expenditures that we included as minimal things. I mean, we didn't thought we're going to create a student basket that will be a luxury one, but we said, okay, let's think of what is the minimum, bare minimum of a student that would spend money in a month in the city where they are studying. And as I said, the fee is very high, so that's why they are not satisfied at all. I mean, personally, but also my friends and every young people in this country is not satisfied at all with the quality of life in North Macedonia. It's, in economical terms, you can say it's not value for money. I mean, you don't get the value for the money that you are paying, right? You can take any case. For example, for the education, you pay around 200 euro for the semester, but you don't get the quality education that you need in order to be very qualified on some specific job that you're going to do in the future. So the value for money, it's a disaster, the Macedonian case.
But you have mentioned many topics here, for example, socialization, the high educational fees, the high rental fees, but what would you say that one element from the quality of life that is most important to the young people? Like, for example, when they say, I want to leave this country because our quality of life is very low, what is the most significant thing for them, according to you?
In our case, I think the access to opportunities would be one. Why I'm saying access to opportunities is because not everyone has the same access to the opportunities within this country. In the sense of, unfortunately, what we are talking currently, I started to consider myself and other activists that have been engaged in different NGOs for quite a while. I think that we are privileged one because we have first access to every opportunity that comes out, but not everyone has the same access. So I think one of the things that young people are not satisfied is that first they don't have not everyone has the access to the opportunities first, and second, unfortunately, we have created this culture. We have normalized the corruption in the sense of we think of doing everything in the way of, I have someone that I will need to call in order to fix me something that I would need to do. And it's a system that is not based on meritocracy, but is based on who do you know. If you know someone who has influence in institutions or in NGOs or wherever that can get your job done, then you're fine. You can be successful. You can get a lot of opportunities and so on. But if you are coming from some place, let's say rural area or so on, that you don't have this kind of people that will fix your job for anything that you would want. Of course, the satisfaction that you would have towards the system is very low. So, to my point of view, I think these are the two main issues why young people today would want to go abroad, because they don't feel that even if you are super successful, 10.00 the grades in faculty, you would not get to where you want to go, because it's not a system based on meritocracy, but a system where you must know someone that will get the job done.
Unfortunately. And what about you, Dimitris? What do you think, according to you, is the most important and most significant element from the quality of life?
I think about Greece, the most important element is of course the quality of infrastructure in Greece, in my country, for example, because whenever I'm traveling abroad, I see the different level of other countries that they are in the European Union, and it's a big difference in living in, for example, Netherlands, in France, in Italy. It's getting better from time to time, but I think that's the most important element, because these young people in the future, they want to make families, they want to create something, maybe a new enterprise or something, a new business or whatever, and they don't feel comfortable that they can trust this country, this government, or in general the governments of Greece, because they don't feel they are not so trustworthy through the years, and it's really bad, because if you cannot trust your own country, how you can create something in this country? I think that's the debate question that you need to debate to ourselves sometimes. If I cannot trust you, you cannot trust me. So it's like relationships. It cannot work from both sides. I think that's the main reason that the young people, they want to escape from these problems and they want to move abroad.
Unfortunately, yes. But moving on to the next question, what do you think? How do gender or economic status or identity affect your personal sense of safety? First, we will go with the personal, then we will talk in general for the young people. So, what do you think? How does these elements affect the personal sense of security?
Okay, I can say, yeah. In general, in Greece, in the last years, there are many, unfortunately, a lot of gender violence incidents. Not many religious incidents, because of the big percentage of Christian Orthodox that they're living in Greece. So, statistically, it's difficult to find a mix of religions. Like North Macedonia, you have a mix of religions. And also another problem, I think, is in Greece, through the COVID years, a lot of incidents of gender violence in families. they're coming up. Because in the past we don't speak about this. We don't speak about femicides. We don't speak about these incidents. But now they took the popularity that deserves to this important topic. And it's really important, I think, even in terms of law, to characterize this. It's not just a killing; it's a femicide. It's totally different.
And is the femicide characterized in the law? Because in our country, for example, they are currently working on law that will be somehow address this issue. So
the same.
Is it
The same. They're saying that they're still working because in terms of law, it's really difficult. I understand to characterize as femicide, but it's really important to improve the quality of life through this, to respect the different sex, gender, sexual orientation or whatever, the religion, whatever, because it's the identity of a person and it's good to be diverse. That's important for our society to be inclusive. The young people, they understand and they have great understanding of what is good and what is not good. Of course, there are minorities of people that they do some bad things, some violent things, but most of the young people, they respect and they understand each other with the differences, with diversity, and I'm really happy for this.
And what about the economic status? Does the economic status and the economic situation of a young person somehow affect his or her personal space of security?
Yes, I can say that if you live in a ghetto area and in a neighborhood that's really bad, with a lot of incidents, with a lot of police patrol and controlling the area, it's really difficult to escape this reality. Even if you are okay, going to your friends or your cycle, your networking cycle, is going to be like this. So it depends on your financial status. If you are living in a normal area, in a city center with a small cycle of people and people that are like you, it's more easy. It's easier to escape from this bad cycle. Yes.
Thank you. And Blendi, what about you? What is the situation in North Macedonia when it comes to these elements? Like, how do they affect, especially in our context? Like Dimitris said, we are a multi-ethnical country. So how do you think the identity or the economic status or the gender somehow affects the personal sense of security among the young people?
First, I think that the diversity is richness to every country. I mean that cultural variety of having different ethnicities, different religions, it can only be interpreted as a richness towards a country. You know, the moment when you have lots of different languages and so on, even though in the administrative, bureaucratic aspect it can be a headache, but in the way of how the country can function and represent itself is definitely a richness. I mean, the situation in North Macedonia is usually a bit different because you have those, mostly the cultural divide is based on the ethnicity, right? You have these systems that are implemented in schools that are called, not officially called, but I would like to, I like to name it like this because that's how they function. Is basically you have one school, two buildings, where, for example, in Struga, in different cities where you have both Albanians and Macedonians, they try to divide the students based on their ethnicity into different buildings that are a bit away, right? And in this case, you try to in a way contribute to increase the stereotypes that that young people would have in the future towards one another. Because the reason why you have stereotypes, and of course that impacts on the security at the security and safety level, is because you don't have a contact with the other person. The moment where you don't have contact with other person, in that moment you create those stereotypes, how they how they look like, that they behave like this or like that, but you are not aware because you have never contacted with someone from the other ethnic or religious group. So I mean, in North Macedonia, the situation is a bit different, as I said, because mostly the cultural divide is based on the ethnicity, but also that in a way unfortunately contributes to the quality of life, because not everyone would have the same, as I said, opportunities based on their ethnicity. So that has the issue of helping or feeding this ethnic division on those kind of systems that schools do are actually have wider implications towards the safety and towards the security of the people that feel they would feel safe or not. On the other hand, about the issue that we talked about, the economic status, I think that is some kind of a prerequisite of being safe, in the sense of the moment when you don't have some kind of financial independence, you are one step away from being safe in different senses, because that should always be the first step, the Maslow hierarchy of needs. If you don't have the need, if you cannot fulfill the basic needs of a shelter and lunch, you are in danger of other things within a country. So it directly affects the safety of an individual. But also, how I think, to conclude on this, how I think that we should contribute on the idea of the safety, to improve the safety of the young people, is to stop individualizing the safety. We should stop having the discussions, do you feel safe or not, but we should have more discussions on how the system can be developed in the way that everyone will not beg anymore to be safe. To create that system that they will have a responsibility towards their people, towards the citizens, to keep them safe, in the sense of, for example, about the femicide. You have cases where, for example, lots of femicide cases that women have been murdered are cases where those women have reported violence, family violence there, but the institutions haven't done anything. They choose to keep quiet, and that's why, in a way, you motivate that behavior. If you keep quiet,
you don't stop it.
Yeah, you don't stop it. You motivate. You say, do whatever you want. Beat your wife. We're not gonna react either way, even though the wife have reported you for domestic violence. And in that way, when the institutions that need to do their job, they are motivating the person to commit the same behavior. Of course, you have those cases that we have talked. That's why I'm saying that we need to create this system that actually is working on behalf of the people, and is basically won't allow any institutional failure of not addressing these issues that we are discussing.
But you both mentioned some systematic problems, and what if for one day you are part of the system, but from the other side, let's say, if you were in the shoes of a decision maker, so if you were a mayor or a minister or any other decision maker that has the power and the ability to somehow improve the situation with its decisions. So if you were a mayor or a minister for a day, what is the one thing or the one change, the first change that is most important to do in order to improve the youth security and the well-being of young people in your country? Because I think that it's better to see it within this perspective, to see what needs to be done. So Dimitris, maybe we can start with you.
Yes, I think the most important asset is to understand how different countries that are reacting to the same problems. Because of course every country has its own success story, its own good practice. So it's important to research on these case studies from different countries to understand the topic of each problem, and maybe you can adapt on same models, same financial models, or maybe community building models. For example, Scandinavia countries has a great educational system that it's one of the best worldwide, and I think it's important to to develop further and to grow our educational system and to evolve to new era in order to prepare new citizens. Because the new generations, it is important to understand and to work and to think like the countries that they are the role models to us. I think the main problem from our governments is that they don't have the political decision in order to understand that, okay, this is good for our nation, this is good for our country, we need to do it like this. Because it's more like politics, not they don't want to focus on policy making, but they want to focus totally on politics, and this is really bad. In order just to fulfill the commitment of their followers, their electors, and so like this. So if I was a mayor or a government or a prime minister or whatever of my country, of course I will ask my citizens what they want. Then I'm going to ask different countries of friendly countries of ours in order to understand what they're doing great and what we need to adapt in our case.
And on a more personal level, you previously mentioned that infrastructure is the most important and significant element that which is why the young people in Greece are not feeling safe currently in this situation. So if you were, let's say, a mayor of Thessaloniki in the community that you live in, what do you think should be done or what needs to be changed in order for the young people to feel safe or to feel to improve their quality of life in this sense?
Okay, by designing infrastructure not only as buildings, but in general as mindset, as the processes between the municipality and the residents of the municipality. If I was a mayor, of course I would try to build more youth centers, because in Greece we don't have public youth centers. Every youth center is from a private funding. For example, my organization has a private youth center. So we apply for projects, we apply for programs, and maybe one day we don't have the same success rate. It's important to have this funding in order to host more young people, because we want to, and we have the capacity, and we have the knowledge to do. Because in some areas of Thessaloniki, I think they don't know how to interact with volunteering organizations, this type of projects. I think that will be my main priority, because I'm specialized on this. I'm not an engineer or I'm not a political scientist. I don't know how to do something different. But as a youth worker, I will focus to improve the youth. And of course, I'm going to ask people that they are experts on their own field. And of course, we're going to collaborate, because with collaboration, I think we're going further. than we are going alone.
Of course. Thank you very much. And Blendi, what about you?
First thing probably would be regarding education. I would propose maybe to the parliament to close all universities and to open on the next day, but everything should start from the beginning. I mean, super transparent.
A complete restart of the system.
Restart of the whole education system. I mean, all the professors, they should get, those academic credentials from the beginning. The process should be totally transparent. And of course, everything should follow that, that way of how the education system should work, especially the universities. Because I think the education system should, in a way, encourage the critical thinking. You should not go there and try to be, try to keep quiet only to see what will the professor say, so you can get a better grade, to follow in line, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that it's not what the education system should serve. It doesn't have that aim. It shouldn't make you obedient to go outside whenever you see injustice to keep quiet. No, it's the contrary. You need to speak up, to have that critical thinking of analyzing the things that are happening. That would be first. Second would be, I would probably knock on every institution doors and ask them to do their job. I mean, that is one issue that we have in the country, is that people are getting paid, but they are not doing their job. You should go say to them, hey, this is your job, you should do this. We are begging people to do the job that they are being paid. It
is very connected with what Dimitris said previously about the politics and not policies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was this amazing quote that I've read somewhere years ago. It was like that, political leaders should not focus on the next elections, they should focus on the next generation. Because you have politicians that when they try to do some law proposal, they focus on how their constituents would react. Will they vote for them after 2 years on the elections, or will this issue in a way affect the votes that they will be getting after 2 or 3 years on the next elections? When you think it like that, because the country is not, finite. It's infinite. Mm-hmm. You are not there to think only for 4 years. You need to be there to think for 15 years, for 20 years. Because when you leave the office, you should leave it in a better position
than when you
came and when you have found it. But unfortunately, this is another discussion, the political culture, this political elitism that is the worst ever, especially, I think, in the whole region. You have people that see politics as a mean to get rich, as a mean to fill their goals that they have had for the entire period. That would be the second thing, to change this, the idea of, people that work in the administration and the state, they don't do anything. This idea that everyone has, and which is partly true. And the third thing, I think, what is needed is, I would propose a emergency moratorium in all institutions in regards to the laws, regulations, and actions that are related to young people. Moratorium in the sense of you cannot pass a law that is related to young people without their meaningful participation. When I say meaningful participation, I mean meaningful participation. I don't mean invite 2 or 3 people and, we consulted with them. They said, okay, no, we should invite the organizations that are dealing with these issues for many years. They have lots of volunteers. They can, fast back have those consultations with them. And without having those deep, meaningful participation in the creation of these regulations, personally, I would not want to have any laws or regulations passed, because, like the oxymoron of the idea of thinking that you are creating a law on youth participation, and the guy who's creating the law is 45 years old and is creating a law that is in regards to the young people. Where in the heck you can find these oxymorons? Only in the Balkans. That's why I think Netflix should
Yes.
should invest to
Thank
do
you.
a TV series, limited
Edition.
edition of 10 episodes.
House of Balkans.
Yeah, House of Balkans with everything what is crazy for others, but for us is
Yes.
another day.
I think.
Can I add something?
Yes, of course.
Yes, I think, in our country, I think the main problem is they tried always to copy the politics and the rules, laws from other countries, and they don't invest time and on research, on understanding what is going to work. And for example, even for the femicide rule that you mentioned before, the law and everything, we do the same. We try always to follow different countries, and always try to. We don't understand what we are working to. We don't see a vision. We don't see a political vision. It's just okay. European Union told us we need to do this stuff. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, checklist. Okay, done. We are ready. It's not like this. If you are a leader, you're a political leader, you have a lot of people, you need to ask them. I think that's the main issue of this type of democracy. They don't ask directly the people. We elect some people that they have their own agenda. And or sometimes not even their own agenda, the agenda from other countries. They're trying also to fulfill this type of policies in our countries, and that's really bad.
But throughout the whole podcast, I can see that we can make a lot of connections between these two countries, and we can come to the conclusion that we all face, even though we are different countries, we both face, let's say, same challenges when it comes to the lives of young people and the quality of life. So do you think that somehow our two countries can cooperate, or let's say on a more individual or personal level? How can we use this connection that we are neighbors as well, and we are also very close to each other, and Greece is also a part of the European Union. So how do you think we can somehow help each other or cooperate in order to improve the situation? Because from what we both heard, the situation is not very positive. So what do you think, how can we achieve that?
There's something that I've always believed why we should always try to collaborate with the neighboring countries. It's a very good reflection. You can have 3 brothers, everyone lives around somewhere, but whenever you have some emergency, you turn out to your neighbor, because that's someone who's the closest to you to help you out. Even though you have 3 brothers or sisters that could come at any time, but you know that someone in your right is your neighbor, and they can come. Fastest response. So having this in mind, I believe that's why I believe in this neighborly cooperation that can, in a way, result in very positive stuff. In the sense of, for example, Greece has been for a long time in the European Union. We are aspiring to be one day member of the European Union, and they can always help us, in which path we should move, in which path we should focus. I mean, that is one way of the cooperation. The other way is, inviting young people of Greece, also with the young people from North Macedonia, to have this connection and to think of one another beyond of what the politicians are perpetrating, what are the Macedonians or what are the Greeks. Because one of the thing that you mentioned is that we have the same issues, and every time we talk, it's the same thing for the whole region. But unfortunately, even the politicians know this, but they try to choose the things that divide us. Not only the things that divide us, but they try to infuse some spins that would not let all the young people from the region gather in one place. You have lots of situations. You had the issue with Greece and North Macedonia. You have North Macedonia and Bulgaria. You have Kosovo and Serbia. You have like 10 things that are happening, created by politicians, not by young people, because when you see a Serb and Kosovar together, they don't have any issues. When you see a guy from Bulgaria with a guy from North Macedonia, they don't have any issue. But they are, as I said, created from up, trying to be pushed to the bottom of the people and to in a way stop this collaboration and cooperation that can be for the good of both countries. So I believe that we should let them try to create these paranoid stories that they always try to infuse, and we can do always the work that can result in a good cooperation with very impactful results.
Thank you, Blendi. And Dimitris, what about you? What are your thoughts on this?
I need to cut.
It's okay.
I totally agree with Blendi. I think the main reason of why they try us to focus on bilateral problems and not cooperation, it's because they don't want to focus on the real problems of our societies. Whenever we are focused on the real problems, even because of the tragedy in Kotsani and also in Tempe in Greece, I translated the signs of the demonstration because as I studied Balkan Slavic and Oriental studies, I know this territory a lot, and I understood that they say the same. We don't have oxygen. We had the same sign, like we don't have oxygen as society. We want to breathe. It started from the USA. We want to breathe, to speak about our problems, because it's not normal in 2025 to have this type of problems, and it's really important to collaborate and cooperate, because only with the collaboration we are going to solve our problems, and this is what our governments, they don't want to sometimes, because they want to create problems of invisible threats or whatever, because it's the only way to keep us away from our daily problems, our daily routine, and what is going on now here on our places. Through the collaboration in this tragedy, also Greece helped North Macedonia with ambulances, a lot of emergency incidents because of the fire in hospitals of Thessaloniki. That's the main reason, that you need to have a good neighbor in order, in these cases, to help. And that is important also from Greece, to have a really strong and economical, sustainable North Macedonia, and reverse, the same for North Macedonia, to Greece to be a strong country. Also for job opportunities, for collaborative opportunities. I think it's also good for both sides, because now you see that Greece is going better economically. Also, North Macedonia is going better than previous 10, 15 years and something like this. It's always it's for both sides good to collaborate a lot in terms of trade, whatever, commerce, and yes.
Thank you very much, and I have to say that I agree with both of you, which is why we are working all these years on the Cooperation for Common Future initiative, and we hope that one day we will have these offices for bilateral youth cooperation established, and we can speak throughout them about our problems. And very briefly, because we have arrived at the end of this podcast, our podcast, like I said, is called Our Lives, Our Safety. So what is the message that you would like to send out there to the young people and to the decision makers and to everyone that is listening to us about the things that about well-being and the quality of life in our country?
Can I say something brief?
Yes, absolutely.
It's important to speak in order to feel safe. Even if you don't think that you don't have someone that is going to listen to your problem, just speak your problem. Don't keep it in your inner self. Express it and speak loudly, not with words, but sometimes even with actions. It's important.
Thank you. And Blendi, what about you?
I would share pretty much the same, to be active, speak out loud, connect with a lot of people, and literally engage as much as you can.
Is there anything else you would like to say, or we can close the podcast?
From my side, I think
Okay, super.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for this talk. I think that it was very productive, and I hope that the next time we meet, the situation and the data will be more positive when it comes to the well-being and the security of the young people. So thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you everyone for watching and for being with us during this podcast episode. And I invite you to stay tuned with us and visit our next episode of the podcast that is coming very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.